my God, Becky.
Can Miss Becky please raise her hand, bro?
You better call Becky with the good hair.
Yo, what's good? It's your girl Becky, and yes, I do have good hair, also known as Becky the Poet. Welcome to my podcast, Unspoken Words. So before I get started with this episode, you guys, I just want to be real with you guys. Take care of yourself. Today I was at work. I heard some things, and somebody's family member just like passed away over the holidays. And by the time you guys hear this, it'll be December 7th. But like, just died on their vacation. And like, to be real with you guys, like, I stress a lot, you know, and I have like heart issues or whatever, and honestly my hair is falling out, and it just makes me stress even more. But it just makes me realize that like I have to take care of myself, because you never know one day where I'm just gonna like blap, like there's no more of me. So at the end of the day, honestly, take care of yourself, your mind, appreciate life, respect it, and don't worry about what's going on in 2019, 2020. Do right now what you want to do. It's the end of the year, but hey, who says you can't start now? So we're about to get started with this episode. We have a special guest.
Hello, guys. It's KG, founder, CEO of Cosign Magazine and Cosign Media. I want to thank Becky for having me. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at CosignKG. I need all them followers, please. Thank you.
All about them follows, all about the algorithms or whatever's going on.
Yeah. I need all that.
Yo, I have a question. How do you feel about people who have all these followers,
right,
and have all these likes, but when you look in their comments, it's like nothing?
Man, you know what? It's kind of difficult. So I used to be like, okay, if somebody has a lot of followers, but their engagement isn't high, they had to buy the followers, right? But then, like, I started looking at my personal stuff, and it's like, okay, so my personal Instagram, CosignKG, like, I get mad comments, likes, follows, everything. But my follower count isn't the same as Cosign Mag. You know what I'm saying? Like, Cosign Mag is like 16.9K, but the engagement isn't as high as on my personals. So I think sometimes it's about like the tone of the page. You know what I'm saying? So if your page, if you're not really like talking to people on there, then you might have the followers, but they might just not really, you know, interact with you like that. Right. So I guess it's something as far as like you receive what you put out. So maybe you should engage more with people to get the same thing back.
How do you feel about having the same people? Like, you know, okay, I've noticed that like if I put a picture, I'll have like, let's say 50 likes, and it'd be the same people that always likes all my photos. And the same people, the same 5 people is always commenting. How do you feel about that?
So me and my friend had this conversation all the time. Sometimes I think, man, it's needed to do like an Instagram cleanse. What I mean by that is like, bro, like you got all these followers, but like, what's the point of them following you if they don't like your pictures, if they don't do anything? So it's like, man, sometimes I want to go there and start unfollowing people. You know what I'm saying? Not nothing personal, but it's like, bro, like, why even follow me if you don't care what I have going on? Like, I don't want just numbers to have numbers. Like, I want to be able to have people that actually care about what I'm doing and are interested. So like, sometimes, like 2019 beginning, if you might see my following count goes down, is because, you know, some of y'all getting cut. So please like, comment, you know, engage.
On the people have these apps where you can see who unfollowed, who are ghost followers.
I don't even care.
They also have these apps where like people who are ghost followers who don't comment or like anything, but they just follow you.
Right.
And I'm like, man, I bet if I was to click that tab right now, I would see like all these people be like, why are you here? Why are you here?
Yeah, nah, definitely. I get a lot of that. Like, I see people like, so what's really even more crazier is, you know, on Instagram stories, you can see everybody that watch your stories. Right. I'm like, man.
When you
like,
post a poll or question.
So I'm like, all y'all see my stories,
but you couldn't
right?
answer that.
Yeah, but you don't respond to any of the polls, right? Or you bite. That means I know that you see my posts as well, but you don't like engage or like. So it's like, man, sometimes you gotta do that cleanse. Like I said, I'm getting rid of a lot of people, man. Like, I'm starting fresh, man.
And that's good, because I know even it's talked about everywhere. Instagram, social media is people's life. Like, people go on there before they wake up, before they go to sleep, and in the middle, like 24/7, to be real, and just to see how many likes, who commented, what's this person doing, what's that person doing.
Exactly.
One main thing I have an issue about is giveaways, because I'm trying to do a giveaway. I gave up on the giveaway. Forget all y'all doing this giveaway. Cosign words already passed. By the time y'all hear this, it's December 7th. It was a good event. Y'all missed it. But anyways, no.
Come next year.
Exactly. So people do giveaways a lot on Instagram.
Right.
And some of it is just because, just to gain followers. So it's like, follow this page, follow this page, follow this page, but there's never a winner.
Right.
And so I had a friend who was doing this weave thing, like posting to get this this weave out in Louisiana, whatever. And the girl said, I posted a winner, but my friend was like, I kept up with it. You did not post anything. Let me see, But the person never replied back. But I'm like, that's so hurtful, because people really be legit thinking like, oh, I'm about to get some free weave, like 3 bundles for free. Like, come on now.
Nah, for sure.
That's so rude.
Yeah, man, giveaways are tricky, man, because it's done so much. Like, you have to really with giveaways, you got to find what people really want and find a way to get their attention.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And then the thing is, like, man, like, everybody says follow, comment, tag. Like, it's like sometimes you got to make it as simple as possible. You know what I'm saying? Just to kind of bring them in and to show them the validity of it. Right. So show them somebody won. Right. And that way, like, maybe like 2 or 3 times later, you can hit them with, the giveaway you want.
Yeah.
So you got to lead up to it.
I just got to re-strategize. So next time I see a giveaway, be warned. Whoever liked and comment, I saw y'all. I took a screenshot of who liked it and didn't do anything else. I'm just kidding. No, but anyways, KG. So season 3 is all about my guest's story. Okay. Season 1 and 2, I spoke a lot about my story, what I've been going through, and like I said before, it's draining talking about myself all the time. It makes me question my own life, because even today, one of my clients was walking to the pool and was like, hey honey, are you depressed, are you sad? I'm like, I thought I was fine. I didn't know I looked that way. Right. So it really made me evaluate life, that maybe I need to get myself together. So while I'm doing so, I want to know what everybody else is going through. And season 3 is just close people that it's not just somebody random. Right. So KG, what's going on? What's your story today?
Man, so do you want to know like today, KG, or you want to know like KG was 7 years ago when he was?
What do you think the people want to hear?
Man, I have no idea. I have no idea what people want to know anymore these days, man.
So let's start with 7 years ago and bring them and catch them up.
Okay, so 7 years ago is when I started Cosign, but it was a weird time. For many people that know, I have an 11-year-old daughter. So I was kind of going through that phase where it's like, man, do I just continue to keep working, right, to, sustain having a child and a household, or do I want something bigger, like a legacy?
When you say continue working, do you mean like a 9 to 5? Like,
right, yeah. So prior to Cosign, I used to work overseas. I was a government contractor. So I worked in Afghanistan, between Afghanistan and Dubai. So I was gone 4 months, and I'll come home for 2 weeks. Right. Be gone 4 months, same thing for 2 weeks. So it was rough. So when I first went overseas, my daughter was really young. And it kind of took a toll on me, because when I first left, she was 1. So when I would come back after 4 months, she wouldn't really know who I was. Yeah. So it took a week for her to get comfortable with me.
Then you got to leave again.
Then I leave again in a week. So it sucked, man. And my daughter's my life. Like, people know her. Like, she's everything. But at the same time, like, being broke is not cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can give her mad love, but like, what they say, shorty can't eat no books.
Or like birthdays, Christmas. Like, you want to give gifts. Man. I understand.
And I'm a man, and what I mean by that is, like, I can't accept like my mother taking care of my child. Right. Like, she didn't lay up to have that child. I did. You know what I'm saying? So that's my responsibility. So I got tired of my mom, helping and all that. So I sacrificed 2 years, went overseas. I made a lot of money.
So you saved up?
I saved up, yeah. But at the same time, I had bad anxiety, and I used to have bad temper problems when I get stressed. And being away for so long, I started to get like little things would trigger me.
Was that before you started working overseas, or was this just?
I always had anxiety and stress problems. Like, when I used to play basketball, I would get in trouble because
you just throw the ball at somebody. You're not supposed to be. Okay.
Coaches didn't matter who it was.
Oh.
So being in Afghanistan in a war zone, right? Hundreds, thousands of miles away from family, and my base was nothing but men. So it's a lot of testosterone, no women. Right.
No one to calm you guys down.
Yeah. So like in 1 week, exactly. So 1 week I got in a lot of trouble, and I ended up quitting, coming home. Right. When I came home, I was super depressed, because it was like, man, I came home to nothing. Like, I had money, but like, I didn't know what I was going to do next. Right. I gave up a great job with no plan B, and everybody was like, man, you're stupid. You should have stayed over and then got that money. You know what I'm saying? I would listen to everybody, so I really went in a form of depression. So for like 2 weeks, I never left my room. Like, I stayed in my room. Like, I would go shower, but I would come back in my room. You know what I'm saying?
Stay clean.
Yeah, I had to. Gotta stay clean. And so I remember one day I was calling my friend. So I used to work at Ozone Magazine. I know I'm jumping around, but I used to work at Ozone Magazine. I was calling my friends like, man, I don't really want to work for somebody, but I need to figure out what I wanted to do. And then they were like, man, just start your own. So at this point, I was like, man,
is Ozone magazine still out right now?
No, it's not out anymore. So they discontinued. So while this time I was figuring out what I wanted to do, I asked a couple of friends that were real close to me that were successful, and they were like, man, just start your own. So I took a trip to Atlanta. I stayed in Atlanta for 1 month with my friend Mike D. Buy my photos. He's a designer, photographer, recording engineer. He does everything. You name it. So in 1 month, we interviewed like 40 people in Atlanta.
Right.
He did all the photos, all the graphics, and I compiled it and made a mock issue of Cosign.
Okay.
And
so your very first issue, right? Well,
before the first issue, yeah. So it was like a mock. So I printed that out. I printed like 1,000 copies. I'm like, I'm just give this away. If people like it, I invested in myself, give 1,000 away. Like, people like it, I'll get emails, I'll get Facebook messages. Instagram wasn't around.
Right.
I don't think it really was. I don't think it really was. So I got Facebook messages, then I'll do it. So I gave it away. And like my email was blowing up. Like, I got a copy of Cosign. I want to know more about it. How can I be featured? Blah blah blah. Like, man, maybe I should be doing this.
Right.
So I just kind of kept with it. Went to every event possible in Dallas to get the name out. Gave out every magazine I could. Took every picture of everybody at every event and posted it so that people would kind of come to the website. And that was 7 years ago. And fast forward today, still doing the same thing. But I feel like this past year has been like the most mature I've ever been.
Right.
Like, I realized what my problems are and I'm facing them. I'm no longer ignoring them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, the issues I have, I'm facing them head on. So like, I don't like rejection, but I realize like it's a part of life. So people tell me no, I have to deal with it.
When you talking about like rejection, like with businesses and big
in life,
just anybody?
In life, period.
Okay.
Life with relationships, family,
right.
friendships, even business. In the media, advertising business, you have to like sell yourself.
Right.
So I hate cold calling because
what's that?
Cold calling is like, okay, so like a magazine is based on all of advertising. That's how you fund a magazine.
Okay.
So I have to cold call to get companies to buy advertising.
Okay. Kind of like in our yearbooks back in the day, if we wanted to like, you would buy this package and put your baby picture there.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So I'm selling advertisements and I'm cold calling, and companies never heard of Cosign. They were like, no, we're good. And that takes a hit on your self-esteem.
You're
and it's like, man, like,
this business ain't for me.
Yeah, I think I'm doing well, but
yeah,
I can't sell. Or even like people that that like really love Cosign, but sometimes that love doesn't turn to actual support.
Yeah, true.
And it's not always about money, but it's like, hey, we're all business owners. You know what I'm saying? The only way to sustain this is to sell. Like, no matter what company, what business you have to sell. You have to sell yourself.
True.
You get what I'm saying? So there's a lot of stuff that I'm dealing with right now. That I'm trying to face to, get better as a man.
Right.
And as a business owner, so I think I've been doing well so far at that.
That's good. I mean, I can relate to the whole, what kind of like cold calling. For podcasting, you want sponsors to sponsor your episode. So let's say like, for me, it costs like what, $15 to stay on SoundCloud, right? Then it costs recording, driving, whatever, right? Merch, whatever. So I want to be able to have income in because I'm putting output, right?
Exactly.
Is that correct? Yes. And so I sent like emails to people, and like people like are close people who are like, yeah, I support your podcast, and I go to their events a lot, and I like didn't get a reply back, and I was like, bro.
Right.
And I see them like,
yeah.
But like I understand where you come from. So sometimes like I had to even learn this, and I was just like, shit, like people not gonna support you the way you want them to.
Not for sure.
And like there are certain people where like, for example, like when it comes to my friends, like you, Davion, whatever, like I have friends who do amazing stuff, but I don't know if it's just my ego or just like I don't have a plan to ask them like, hey, will you sponsor this, will you do that? Because I don't have a legit like plan to why you guys fit in there,
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
No, I get you.
Because it's like me asking Nike to sponsor my podcast. Like, how is your podcast related to Nike? You know what I mean?
Not for sure. And I'm super emo. I don't know if people know that, but I'm super emo. So like when
What
people
does that
say
mean?
emotional.
Okay.
So like, you know what I'm saying? When people say it's business, it's not personal. Everything's personal.
Right.
to me. So like, my thing is, we're all adults. So like, if I ask you something, just say no. I'd rather you say no than to ignore me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because like, I see you seen it, and I'm going to see you, like, bro, just say you can't at this time or you're not interested.
Right.
I'd rather take that rejection than complete, you know what I'm saying?
Like, I'm just put your message on red.
Than lack of acknowledgement.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I want.
Yeah. That tells me, like, to me, that's saying, like, yo, you're not even worth a reply.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like that's cool. Yeah, people get busy. So
No, that is true.
You can get busy and see a message and like, I'll respond later, and you don't get to it. But, like, man, a lot of times people see it, they just don't want to say no, or I don't know. But
How do you feel about the excuse people use, like, okay, because you know how some people's phone, they have like 25 unread messages, right?
Right.
So how do you feel about, like, oh, I just wasn't on my phone?
I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all.
Because you hang out with other people, that's what I think. Like, if you hang out with other people, but you couldn't read my message, like...
Yeah, I don't believe that I wasn't around my phone. We're always on our phone.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Just, that's the thing, man. People have to be adults and be honest. Like, look, whatever you message me for and you're asking, at this time, I can't assist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you don't even owe me or anybody an explanation. Just be like, I just can't do it.
Right.
You don't have to tell us why. Just, you can't do it.
Yeah.
But, like, lack of acknowledgement, to me, that's disrespectful, man.
How do you feel about people saying, like, yes, I'll do it, but then, like, don't commit to it?
You have to be a man or a woman of your word. That's
Right.
my biggest thing. And I'm guilty of overcommitting.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I
So
can
as a man, I'm
relate to that, too.
doing better at that because I have a lot of friends or people that support, so you want to support them as well. And sometimes you overcommit and you have other things going on and you don't realize how close some things are, or
Yes.
you know how much time it actually takes. So, like, you have to be a man or woman at work. That's all you got. Like, if I say I'm gonna do something, you can believe from here on out I'm gonna do it. Like,
Right.
I'm not just gonna say it just to feed your ego. Like, we can't at this point. Like, you know what
True,
I'm saying? As
true.
business owners, we can't no longer. Because if I say I'm gonna do something and I don't do it, even though we're friends, it's gonna come up in a conversation. Like, you might hear somebody say
Sarcastically, but they probably serious as hell.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? That too. So somebody might say, "Well, yeah, KG said he's coming." Like, is he really gonna come?
Yeah.
You know. So, like, you have to keep face. You know.
No, I had that problem with overcommitting too. I
Yeah.
schedule a lot of things. I'm be
Man.
at so and so's events, but like if you think about it, DFW is huge. So
is.
like when I try to be at this open mic in Fort Worth and I work here in Dallas, I'm like I'm really trying to go. This traffic, and I feel like traffic's getting worse and worse every
Man,
week.
traffic is horrible. It's the stupidest thing ever.
So you're big dog KG. You're the man KG. Everybody wants to talk to KG, right?
You a lie.
Right?
You a lie.
So how do you distinguish phonies who always be like, man, KG, yo, what's up? Hey, yo, you gonna give me a ticket to Cosign against the table? Or hey, this and this and this? How you distinguish the phonies from real?
So I'll say this. What's the 2018? So 2014 KG was to come to that. Like, man, I got you. 2018 KG realized, like, yo, you don't owe me anything and I don't owe you anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always been, I've always advocated for, like, yo, we should just buy tickets to everybody's event. Like, don't give me a free ticket.
Right.
You know, I'd rather pay for my ticket because when my event comes around, I don't want to have to give around 30 free tickets just because you let me in your event, you know? And that's where it goes back to this whole support thing. Like, bro, like, if you really support me, you know, I host free events throughout the year.
Right.
So if I ask you to pay $80 for an event to where you're getting open bar, which is free drinks, and you're getting a 3-course dinner, that's more than $80.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just pay the $80. And then when your event comes around, I'm going to pay your 30, 40, whatever your ticket is. Like, I feel like that's how business should be run in Dallas because everybody's throwing events. But is people really making money? If, like, if we're all friends and we're like, damn, I got to give this person a free ticket. They gave me a free ticket. So, like, now these days, like, man, I'll be honest with you. Jesse's like one of my closest friends in Dallas.
Right.
Jesse buys a ticket to all my events.
Right.
I may be like, yo, you don't have to for this event. And he'd be like, cool. But, like, he doesn't expect to get in free.
Right.
And he designed some of my stuff and he still doesn't expect to get in free.
True.
Like, that's how we should all be. And the same thing with him. Like, if I ask him to design something, I'm not looking for free.
Right.
I'm like, bro, send me an invoice and I'll do it. If he be like, don't worry about the invoice, then we'll handle it that way. But we don't expect anything from free, each other for free.
Yeah, because I feel like people who, if you do expect things, when you get turned down, you get hit hard. It's like, damn, I've done this, and like you start naming things what you've done for them, and that's not how relationships, friendships should be.
For sure.
Like it shouldn't be like, oh, I've done this for you. I did this for you. I bought this. Like that's not how it should be, because that deteriorates people.
Love, yeah.
You know, that tears us apart.
Yeah.
In the Dallas community, I'm from Oklahoma City, and I've lived here after I graduated high school. So like about 6 years now, I think. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. But anyways,
I'm not from here neither.
how do you feel like because I feel like when I go to your event, you know, I see the same people at other people's event. How do you feel like the community is when it comes down to supporting and paying and all that, like being real with each other? How do you think that's doing here in Dallas?
I think people pay for what they want to pay for.
Right.
That's just like the sad part about it. And it's really up unto that person to get out their own circle. So like even myself, I don't even attend the same events I used to anymore, because I'm trying to, you know, diverse my following, my circle, my support system. So I'm going to more events that, you know, to see people that I would want to see at a Cosign event. The only way I'm going to attract them is if I go to where they're at to meet them.
True.
You get what I'm saying? So if I don't, I'm going to forever have the same people at Cosign events, and that's not helpful or beneficial to anybody, not beneficial to me or the other people that attend our event. So it's like you have to do your research in the market. Like, okay, before you even start, like, who is your target audience? Who do you want to see at your events? Who do you want to see as your customer? And then go find them. It's not their job to find you. You have to find them and market to them. So that's what we're doing.
In my previous episode 2 with Chris, he's a videographer, and he does videos at different like events. You know, he went to this movie premiere that we were at. He does events for corporate America, et cetera, et cetera. And he was talking about how he does has a diverse clientele, because, you know, you work in corporate America.
Right.
You know, when it comes down to corporate America, you have to make your resume outside of corporate America. So, for example,
sure.
he doesn't take rap videos because it wouldn't look good on his resume. But also, like, he still would help them. Right. You know, but it's just he chooses and picks who he wants to work with to build his resume, because he is in corporate America and doing very well. You know what I mean? Right. So, I mean, I understand where you're coming from when you go to other people's events to be diverse, because he speaks about, like, you know, in the white community, wherever community, they look at who you work with. So if you worked with a rapper who has done some horrible things, they be like, oh, you support that? Okay. You know, so they'll go somewhere else.
Sad truth, but yeah, that's true. For sure.
So, I mean, I think we all should be diverse and just support each other, whether it's, you know, whatever color, where the hell is going on in this world, you guys.
Definitely. You know, it's hard in Dallas because Dallas is segregated, but you just have to do the best that you can, and you know, but it's like, it's also a double-edged sword, because sometimes it's like, man, why do you want to seek acceptance or support from people that don't genuinely, you know,
that
care
is
for
true.
you? So it's like, it's hard. So it's like you're fighting a battle either way. You just have to, I guess, see which battle, you know.
But I feel like kind of like what's in that movie, Straight Outta Compton. Was it what's they're saying? Like, any advertisement is good advertisement, because, you know, like, people may not like what you do, or people not respect, like, oh, he copied so and so, or I could do better. But it's like, okay, well, go ahead then. Exactly. It's everybody's playing field, so go ahead and do that. So I remember we were at Laney's Chicken. And I asked you, I was like, man, KG, you finished everything on your plate. Everything. And then I was like, man, why? Like, why? You could have just, like, if you was full, like, why would you keep eating, you know? And what did you tell me? You tell me about this story, how you, your mama said something about eating everything off your plate because they're people, kids, repeat that.
Well, so in my house, so first of all, we're Panamanian people that don't know. So my mom doesn't believe in wasting food. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, there's people all over the world, no matter which country you're from, that don't have food. You know what I'm saying? Like, specifically where we're from, Cologne, a lot of people there, Africa, you know, everywhere there's people that doesn't have food. So she doesn't believe in wasting food. So she always made it ourselves to never make sure that your eyes are bigger than your stomach. That's nothing she told me. So, like, we always had to proportion our food, you know, to where we can make sure we eat it all. And it's hard to, you know, sustain that even nowadays. Because my daughter, you know, she's a kid and she gets hungry and she takes everything and doesn't, you know, always eat it all. So I have to, like, instill those things into her. But it's like, it's just natural things that I feel like people should be cognizant of, you know, like, don't waste stuff like that.
Right. Do you think that falls also into, I guess, like, a metaphor for, like, the business world?
That's a good point. I think so. Man. I think so because depending on the business you're in and how you look at things in perspective, bro, like it goes back, never bite off more than you can chew.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Overcommitting. You know what I'm saying? Over expenses. You know, like we all want quality, right?
Right.
But at the time you may not be able to afford it.
Okay,
You know
that's
what I'm
true.
saying?
Like
So you
spending money right
spending
away.
money that you don't have.
True.
You know, will put you in debt. So that directly affects you, but like, you know, other things can affect others. You know, outsourcing stuff to a lot of people that you can't pay for. Now they done work that they can't get compensated
Right.
for. So it does metaphorically can apply to, you know.
So I want to ask you this. You know how, as a father, business owner, entrepreneur, all the above, how do you know when to be like, all right, like this isn't for me? Because I know people come at you all the time like, hey, yo, can I be a part of what you do?
For sure.
Can I help you out some way?
Right.
And how do you know when to be like, all right, y'all, like, I appreciate the help, I appreciate the love, but right now I don't have a fitting for you. Like, how do you, since you don't like rejection, how do you think people feel about being rejected in that way?
Man, I still have to be honest and true to myself first because nobody cares about me how I care about me.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So I have to be honest and true with myself and with the brand. So I'll give you some examples. I am at Cosign. We are no longer accepting 30-year-old interns. You know what I'm saying? We are no longer accepting interns that are not in college. We are no longer accepting free work from people outside of college.
Why is that?
For one, I realize people want to do stuff just to be a part of stuff, but don't actually want to put in the work. For two, when stuff gets hard, they're missing. For three, if it doesn't immediately benefit them, they quit.
Right.
There's no accountability. Because for one, if I can't pay you and I tell you like, yo, this is unacceptable, you get in your feelings like, bro, I'm not getting paid anyways.
Right.
I'm not dealing with a 30-year-old man that doesn't want to do what he's supposed to be doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you say, hey, I want to do this for you to help push the brand and to get myself out there, and you don't do it, I have to hold you accountable.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We could be friends and all that, but at the end of the day, I have to make sure Cosign is priority. So that's what I'm no longer doing, you know? So like we trace back to like now all the interns have to be in college because I can hold them accountable. I can talk to the counselors.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's one example of, I'm sorry, can you restate what you had asked me?
Yeah, I don't even remember. We're gonna have to run it back.
Yeah, I just be talking sometimes.
No, that's cool. I ramble
That's
too.
right.
No, but it's kind of funny because remember how I met KG at two events, Motive,
Yeah, I do
and
remember.
then at DNA. Afterwards, I was
for
like,
sure.
yo, I want to be part of KG. And so sat there,
I remember now.
sat there.
What you asked me.
and we met at Starbucks, and I was like running rundown, right? Then this is when I like kind of had a transition in life too. And I was like, sat there and I was giving you my play-by-play, what I wanted to help you guys with, right? Then it came to realization like, okay, I want to do this for them, but just because I want to help people don't mean I'm able to help them.
Right.
And so I even sent you emails like, man, KG, to be real with you, like, I don't think I have a purpose here.
Right, I remember.
And so I was like, so whatever. I went
And
in
I
my
was
business.
honest, and I wish more people would be like you. Yeah.
And so after realizing that, it made me realize a lot of things after the fact in life. So with this podcast, when I created it, especially season 3, you know, I told you before I started this recording is that like when it came down to your name and certain people's name, I had to weave out if I wanted you, if I didn't want you. Right. Because one, I wanted to make sure that we're close and that I was able to like pinpocket things in your life
right.
that relates to my life too and other people's life. And then also as well is just the fact that like does KG or does so-and-so have a story that the people want to know.
Right.
And like I said before, like even when I texted you, I was like, this doesn't have to be about Cosign.
Right, for sure.
Because
I appreciate that.
Because I've heard interviews, right? And only heard 2. I guess the third one was the same video but just a different recording. But I heard you talk about Cosign so much. And like when I did episode 2 with my friend Chris, and we've been friends for years, it made me realize that there's people who don't know what's going on right. behind the Cosign name.
For sure. And there's a lot going on.
And And not just because it's like mental health or self-care, but it's like, do we actually really care about the CEOs, or do we actually care about the Jay-Z, the Beyonce? Like, we actually care about the actual person when it comes down to their business.
Right.
And so what I really want to know is, how do you manage being a dad at the same time a businessman? Because Cosign for sure takes up most of your days, going to events. And how do you come home and be a family man?
I'm gonna be completely honest, man. So I always say it's God, family, Cosign,
right,
in that order.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes in real life, it's God, Cosign, family,
right,
and it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
So I'm working to get there. So to bring people into my life. So me and my daughter's mother aren't together.
Mm-hmm.
So that's already one strike against me. So it takes more time for me to spend time with my daughter because she doesn't live with me.
Right.
So a lot of times I have to reschedule stuff with people because I don't know if I can, because I'm supposed to be getting my daughter this weekend, right, or she has an event or basketball practice or something that I want to be a part of. So the work-life family balance is super hard and it's draining, because at the end of the day, I'm a father first. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we think about what really matters, it's experiences. You can't take money with you. Things doesn't matter. You can lose all of that.
Right.
But the greatest feeling in the world, not to get super cliche or emotional and shit like that, is, my daughter literally thinks I'm Superman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes I'll listen outside her room of her talking to other people, and she'll just brag about me. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
My dad works with Nike. My dad has his own magazine.
Your dad did an interview with Mila J.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Go read my dad's magazine. My dad did that. He
right.
did that, all that. This is my dad's hoodie. This is my dad's shirt. Do you want one? I can ask my dad to get you one. You know what I'm saying? Like, my dad met this person. You want to meet this person, just ask my dad. He can make sure you meet them.
Right.
Sometimes I'm like, I can't do that. But she was like, I think you can. And like, that means the world to me, because there's people I have relationships with and they don't believe in me the same way.
Right.
They say they do, but they don't, because when things get hard, or when I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this situation,
right,
they're not checking up on me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They don't care that I've been missing for weeks.
Right.
I haven't been anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody cares.
Right.
If I stop Cosign tomorrow, nobody really cares. They're like, oh, Cosign was cool.
Right.
When it lasted.
Right. Kind of like 106 Park.
Exactly. But like, my daughter, regardless of the fact, she's gonna be there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So even though I say like, it's God, family, Cosign, and it's really God, Cosign, family, I'm working to actually change that. Like, I care about this,
right,
but it doesn't mean that much to me.
True.
Like, I love it, but seeing my daughter graduate high school, being at all her basketball games, all her volleyball games, helping her become a fashion designer, like, if I don't make $1 million, but she does all that, she gets married, then have kids. No, she gets married, travels the world with her husband, then has kids. Man, I'll be successful.
Right.
All this stuff is cool, but it doesn't mean nothing to me, honestly.
That's deep, because people who, for example, you, Jay Will, I know, have done interviews with celebrities.
Right.
So people like, oh, hey, it's KG. Oh, hey, Jay Will, let's be friends. Or, hey, let me be part of what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
But in all honesty, like, they only in it just because the name.
That's the truth. That's it.
And that's like, let's say Nike, right? Nike falls apart. No one's going to be supporting Nike.
Exactly.
Just because Nike did something that falls apart.
Yeah.
But everybody was once on the bandwagon.
For
and
sure.
then when Nike reboots again, everybody's gonna be like, oh yeah, I messed with Nike. Nike was this, that. But it's like, what happened when you was,
Man, you got to cherish people, man. I can't remember who actually said it first, but you have to cherish and invest in people. Like, that's what really makes everything work, So it's cool to have good people around you. Like, I met a lot of cool people from Cosign, but it's cool when those people actually turn into friends.
Yeah.
Like, real friends,
yeah.
Not just what's Cosign got going on, but like, KG, what you got going on? Like, how's your relationships? Right. How's your friendships? How's your daughter? She had a game. How she do?
Right.
Like, that's cool to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I love relationships like that in this industry. That's so fake.
I know, for example, I would say I have a handful of friends who are like not my real, like not friends like in college or whatever.
Right.
You know, and I would say like you're one of them, Davion, you know, and honestly, those two people who I call whenever I have like an amazing thing happen in my life, and I'm like, yo, what's good, y'all? I had this idea, I had this feeling, and like, you know, I even talked to Davion a few times. We have, you know, Davion 7, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So we close, and so like, you know, when he goes to MIA, I'll be like, yo, where you been? I'll be texting him, blowing up his phone, and hoping that he answers, and I get a text like, yo, this is my new number. I'm like, all right, he's alive. He's all good then.
Nah, definitely.
And so even when I see him or have that conversation, when I can catch him, or you, whenever I can catch that conversation, you know, like I catch up. I care about what you guys doing, what you guys going on, health, mental health, besides the whole business stuff, because at the end of the day, like with my podcast, with work and all that stuff, like that stuff is draining.
Man, it is.
And you know, the lack of sleep that we get, sometimes we lose appetite because we over here trying to get this thing done. Yeah. And it's just like we need somebody to fall back on, friends, to just talk about other things like, yo, how's your daughter doing? Or did you see so and so on the basketball game? Or did you hear Fergie sing horrible? Anyways, but I'm just kidding. Stuff, man. But you know, just regular life stuff, because that stuff will keep us sane. And that's why I like listening to like petty podcasts, the Read podcast, like those podcasts that talk about like regular stuff, like that I don't talk about my stuff, and I don't see on the news or whatever. Because you know, I work at a place with a lot of senior people. All they watch is the news. Election day happened, they still talking about the news, like, and it's like y'all surround yourself 24/7 around this negativity stuff that's on the news. Right. And like I see that at old age, people get like grumpy, depressed, sad, and just like I'm like, dang, and it's even sadder because their kids don't care about them anymore, you know. And I'm like, that's rough. Like I don't want to grow up to thinking like, you know, I'm just neglecting her or whatever. So when it comes down to my podcast, just stuff like this on the side, like I try to make time for mom at least once or twice a week, you know. Even though my mom never understands what I'm doing, and then, you know, the language barrier, she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. Radio show, mom, radio show. Yeah. But, you know, it's hard to have that family and then have friends on the side, too, because your friend's like, oh, Becky, you doing podcasts? Oh, you think you the stuff now? Blah, blah. Right. No, bro. Like, you really just have to just hit me up, because at the end of the day, I can't think of you all the time. Nah,
for sure. That's real.
So, you know, to cut this episode and stuff, what can you tell people who are in this business who, you know, trying to distinguish phony and real, and also be a family man, also do what they love?
Man, I would say, as much as you love this business and what you're doing, don't make it your entire life. True. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't make it in your entire life. Whether you succeed or fail, give it as much as you can, but give it as much as you can to a healthy level, to where you still have, you know, time for family, time to relax, time to figure out who you are. A lot of times people jump into business or new industry and don't even know who they are. True. You know, that's myself. I didn't know who I was at first. Like, I've grown in 7 years. You know, I'm not the same person. So you have to have that time to figure out who you are, so you can not only be the best business person, best CEO, creative director, editor, etc., but you want to be the best man or woman overall in general. And to help distinguish yourself from, you know, the fakes and the phonies in the world, if you're true to yourself and you really do the best you can, and, you know, always put, you know what I'm saying, the overall goal first instead of selfish ways. Like, if something else is better, let that go take its route, you know. Right. Don't always be selfish, because at the end of the day, karma is real, and what you put out, you know what I'm saying, you'll receive back. So I always try to do the best I can, and if it's not for me, I always recommend other people all the time. Cosign is not a music publication, right? So sometimes artists be like, yo, like, I'm trying to get into Cosign. I'm like, man, we don't really have a fit for it right now, but like, yo, I really think Say Cheese would probably be the best goal for you. Like, if you're a hip hop artist and you really want that real cosign, right? Say Cheese got that cosign that could take you to the next level.
Some people don't want to work for it.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm pretty sure Say Cheese don't accept everybody either.
No, they don't. But I mean, if you put that work in and you want to go route, like, I'm gonna show you which route to go, and it might not necessarily be for cosign, and I'm okay with it. You might be a dope artist, but I'm like, bro, at this level, I can't really help you with you, because that's not where we're at. So
that's good, and that's smart.
Yeah, and that's the best advice I would continue to give, and pay it forward. That's what the whole cosign approach is about. You know, cosign other people and pay it forward.
Right. Well, that's really legit, because why take all the time if you don't give? Just being selfish, y'all. But yeah, we about to get into the poetry section. This poetry this week is from Bravely Brianna. That's her Instagram. And the poem is titled Trip Within the Post-Apocalypse. So go ahead, listen to this, check it out. Follow her on Instagram at Bravely Brianna, BravelyBrana. Show us some love. Yeah, that's it, y'all. Oh, and by the way, in between this, if y'all missed the Cosign Awards, because this will be coming out on December 7th, and it was a great event. I know it hasn't happened yet, but it was a great event.
Appreciate that Cosign.
So go ahead, KG. What's your Instagram one last time?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram at CosignKG, at CosignKG. You could follow the magazine, but if you just go to my page and follow me anyways, you'll see the magazine. So I'm going to take all this credit right now while I have this platform. It's an amazing platform. So please follow me at CosignKG. And thanks to all you guys for listening. All
right, you guys heard it here from Unspoken Words Podcast. We lit.
Becky, we got the phone.
Yeah, tell Becky to pick up the phone.
Oh my God. Becky.
Can Miss Becky please raise her hand, bro?
You better call Becky with the good help.